CNN's Jake Tapper, staunch Zionist, he's interviewing Congressman Dan Goldman, who recently lost his primary elections. And of course, Israel is being brought up. So I want you guys to go ahead and then take a listen to this, and then let's talk about it.
Has, I think, happened, and I think this is really dangerous, is that some of these, as you say, beneath the surface, very complicated, difficult issues have become buzzwords and litmus tests. And genocide in particular, as you point out, has been adopted by many as a morality test. And the real concern I have is that that has translated into a tremendous danger and fear against Jews in America. Because American Jews are now being held responsible by too many people for what the Israeli government is doing. And that is anti-Semitism.
So I have to just stop there, and we're going to go through each clip. Here's the thing. It says that genocide is being used as a morality test. I don't know a better morality test, actually. I don't know a better morality test than whether or not you support mass slaughter campaigns, because that's what is basically going on. And they keep talking about the definition here and there. Now, what I don't understand is how it went from genocide being used as a morality test, being against the murder of innocent people, and then from there saying, now it's targeting Jews. Why is that the case? Brad Lander, his opponent who won in the primaries, is also Jewish. It seems like he's basically conflating that the majority of Jewish people support what's going on, so thus they fail the morality test. In that case, there's a very problematic issue. That's very, very problematic, and I think you guys can see why. Because he's basically telling us, well, for the vast majority of American Jewish people, they basically fail this morality test because they don't believe it's a genocide, so now we're being targeted for that. I think that's an issue, considering the fact that why wouldn't you? You know, there's another clip here, and I'll play it in a moment, where Jake Tapper, again, you know, staunch Zionist, is telling Dan Goldman, I know you don't believe what's happening is a genocide, and he'll talk about the legal definition, and then he'll talk about how Dan Goldman doesn't even believe what's happening in the Israeli-occupied West Bank is an occupation. That is beyond me, because what the hell else is it? They're there, they're occupying. I thought that's just accepted. I thought that's understood. I even thought Zionists understood it's an occupation. What other word is there to define that? I don't know, like, what other word is there to define that? So, you know, the whole thing is totally victimhood complex, and they don't recognize maybe it's actually the fact that we support this horrible thing that Israel is doing that's causing a lot of problems for us. So let me go ahead and play the next clip here.
You don't call what's happening in Gaza a genocide. You have a relationship with AIPAC. And I think you don't refer to what's going on in the West Bank as an occupation. Is there room in the Democratic Party for somebody who is progressive on all these other social issues having to do with the United States, but also disagrees with Brad Lander and Mayor Mamdani on these issues having to do with Israel?
You go down the sort of list of progressive policies, and I'm on board there. What has, I think, happened, and I think this is really dangerous, is that some of these, as you say, beneath the surface, very complicated, difficult issues have become buzzwords and litmus tests.
So, I mean, what? So one, you're for taking money from AIPAC. You don't define what's happening in the West Bank and occupation. I wish he asked him, how do you define it? What is it? A friendly invasion? What is the word? What is the word? They're there. It's the IDF in Palestinian land, and they're there. Palestine doesn't want them there. They're occupying. I mean, isn't that just direct? That's not even, how is that controversial? What else is there? They're just cohabitating. So that's the first thing. Second, you take money from AIPAC. Yeah, that is a group that people don't, that constituents don't want to see their congressman receiving money from. What's the issue there? AIPAC giving millions and millions of dollars to politicians. What is the problem with not wanting a politician to take money from AIPAC? Now, apparently, that is considered anti-Semitic because AIPAC is ran predominantly by Jewish Zionists who support Israel and support what Israel is doing and don't want a two-state solution, don't want Palestinians to have any sort of self-determination. Apparently, receiving money from AIPAC is now considered anti-Semitic if you call that out. I mean, you know, there's a massive gap between what's going on and how much they want to play victim. You know what happened recently, just a couple days ago? The biggest bomb that I've ever seen in modern history blew up in southern Lebanon. That's what happened. CNN World talked about it. Did Jake Tapper do an entire segment on that? Jake Tapper basically doing segment after segment on criticism of Israel and anti-Semitism. Not once is he talking about the real victims right now. There were Palestinians carrying their chunks of their children in plastic bags in Gaza. Why doesn't Jake Tapper run a segment on that? I mean, the amount of consistent, if you guys haven't seen Jake Tapper before, the interviewer, you might think it's a one-off thing, but the amount of consistent segment after segment after segment of consistently trying to play this victimhood, consistently focusing on this. This is what I'll tell you. You want to stop the rise in anti-Semitism? This is what you do. You stop supporting Israel and you stop allowing Israel to have free reign. You stop allowing Israel to go on a rampage. He says it's a problem that American Jewish people are being blamed for the actions of Israel. Actually, that's false. That's false. Brad Lander, the Jewish man who beat him, he isn't blamed for the actions of Israel because he speaks up against it. Every anti-Zionist Jewish person I know is not blamed for the actions of Israel because they speak up against it. You know who are? It's the people that actually are supporting it. And it's also the people that are lobbying politicians to keep it going. Those are the ones that are being blamed. And if you have a problem with that, then maybe that says more about you than than anything else. Oh, well, I don't like how Jewish people are being blamed. Dude, you're going ahead and voting in support of that. What do you mean you don't want to be blamed for it? AIPAC is pushing politicians to vote in support of that. What do you mean you don't want to be blamed for it? You don't like when people call you out, yet at the same time, you want to keep voting on the policies that are causing Palestinian suffering, causing them to be wiped off the map. I mean, the fact that you think you're a victim when you're actually the person that is complicit in all of this is disgusting. Oh, it's wrong that we're being targeted simply for supporting AIPAC, simply because I'm signing off on sending bombs to Israel. That doesn't mean I'm responsible for the actions of Israel. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. And you and everybody else that supports and vote for politicians like you, it does. So yes, it is the most basic moral litmus test. Jake Tapper, again, hosting Randy Fine. Dana Bash, the other chick, the blonde lady, also on CNN, hosting Randy Fine. They host the most egregious people, and then they act like they're the victims here, and it's infuriating. I'm so sick of these segments on anti-Semitism. Why don't you host a segment on how we're backing everything Israel is doing and show how many Palestinians are dying because of it? Why don't you host more segments about what's happening here in the United States with other groups that are actually really being affected right now? There was a clip here, and I think it's towards the end. Maybe I think I have a timestamp for it. I'll check. Where he says that if it was any other group of people, the world wouldn't allow this. The United States wouldn't allow this, but because it's Jewish people, they're getting away with this. That's just simply false. That's a total complete lie. Because what you'll notice is that Arabs, Muslims in general in the United States, they're trashed on all the time. I mean, politicians are constantly tweeting about it. There's no problem with that. That's normalized. Actually, when it happens to the Jewish community more than anything, it actually, I don't know what receives more blowback than that. Is there any? I can't think of a one that receives more blowback than that. And yet he's still playing as if he's some sort of victim. It's like, can we just please talk about something more important right now? Stop. You want people to feel bad for you. You're hosting this. You're trying to gain awareness for what? It's not going to change anything. So this is what we're continuing to see, time and time again, this obsession with playing victim, but not recognizing that they're complicit in the murder of people and then getting mad that people are starting to judge them for it.
I guess people feel like it's okay calling people, genocide supporters. It's incredibly offensive. I mean, the idea that I, who has devoted my career to public service and civil rights and equal justice, would be called a genocide supporter, a baby killer, is unbelievably offensive, but it's been normalized to such a degree that it dehumanizes Jews, and I think it creates a really unsafe environment.
What? Dude, you're voting on these bills. You're the one who's voting on sending bombs. Clearly, you're supporting this. This is what I'm talking about. It's, there is a total lack in awareness there. And you know what? I really do think about a lot, and it's this entire thing ever since October 7th. It's reshaped my entire worldview of history. I wonder if you asked an ethnic German, 1940s Germany, if they support mass slaughter campaigns, they would say no. I think that they would actually say no, and they would say that that's immoral, and they would say what's happening is not actually that. That's what would happen. The difference was, you know, if it was back then, and you mentioned that, they'd be like, no, that's actually not the case. That's not what's going on. But there wasn't that internal discohesion within the society at the time. Here in the United States, they're going around and they're continuing to say this. People that support Israel continuing to justify this. Everybody else is like, what in the hell is going on? How are you guys allowing this? And instead of recognizing, oh, wait, you know, this is bad, we shouldn't be doing this, it returns to them being the victim. Dude, there are people dying because of your policies. What are you crying about being the victim? I can't, it's so out of touch. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you found this video interesting, I'd appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button as well. It helps me reach more people like you. If you haven't yet, also, guys, make sure to click the alarm bell button below. Stay up to date with my videos, notifications. It helps boost me on the algorithm, so I'd appreciate it. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Bye, everybody.